Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rena. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Woo!
Oh, Jesus Christ, that actually scared me. Next episode, we're making a cake.
Okay.
Hey guys, so today is my birthday. I'm officially 26 and I'm spending it in quarantine. And that's okay, because I got my cat, I got my wife, and I have some beautiful food that we're gonna make together. My thoughts and prayers go out to the tragic amount of deaths that have occurred. Unfortunately, this is a hard time for a lot of people, but we're gonna try and make it a little bit brighter for you. So enjoy. And welcome back for the 5th episode. Today we're gonna do something a little bit more quirky. It is a take on a traditional dish, but it's my own personal recipe and it's not so traditional. But we're gonna have fun with it and I'm sure you're gonna love it. If you're gluten-free, if you're vegetarian, it's gonna fit both profiles. But while I set my kitchen up and wash my hands, if you haven't watched past episodes, I'd like to introduce you to New York City comedian Rishi Mathur. He's very funny and you're gonna love him. He'll give you a couple of jokes so that everybody stays happy. See you in a couple seconds.
What's up, everybody? So I've been noticing things that suck about this quarantine. One thing that's terrible is that everyone's becoming a really good joke writer. My girlfriend's dad called me the other day and said, "Hey Rishi, I got a really good joke for you." What is it? Are you happy or are you married? And I'm like, phenomenal joke. First of all, you're talking about your daughter. Second of all, how'd you come up with that so quickly? I'm struggling out here. And then my mom called me yesterday and goes, "Rishi, I got a good joke for you. How come everything in China breaks in 2 days, but this virus is a real deal? It's not going away." And I'm like, another good joke, but how is everyone doing it? So it sucks because this quarantine is going to put me out of job.
So the ingredients we're going to use today is just like the last episode. It's very simple, probably stuff you have in your cabinet or hopefully you stocked up on. Just onions, garlic, basic potatoes, Idaho potatoes, baby portobellos. The dairy products we're going to use, if you don't have, it's okay. If you have like any kind of replacement for the Gouda, you can use Fontina, Parmesan, any kind of cheese you have. Basic butter, corn oil for frying. So what we're making today is kind of a super unique take on a bruschetta, except without bread. Bruschetta is a word that originated in Italy in the 1500s when olive growers would bring their olives to the local press, and when they made the oil, they would test them out on toasted bread. So in modern times, most people are used to bruschetta being those marinated sliced tomatoes and onions on top of bread, when in all reality, whatever you cook and put on top of a toasted bread with oil is technically a bruschetta. In this case, instead of the bread, we're gonna use fried sheets of this potato, we're gonna use caramelized onions, and then we're gonna top it with those marinated portobellos, and then the cheese is gonna give it that nice gooey layer. I know it's a little hard to imagine, but we're gonna make it work. Let's try it. These are gonna kind of be miniature bruschettas, but they're gonna work. So you're gonna do about that thickness right there and have it so you can fry it up so you'll be able to hold it and still eat it the same way that you would like toast. These mushrooms, I'm just popping out the stems just like that. But keep these because in our next episode, we're gonna make a beautiful stock with them. Since these are organic, or even if they weren't, you wanna keep them very clean, especially in this day and age. Onions, we're gonna keep that stem on, slice that jacket off, fold it off in one giant layer. We're cutting it directly in half. We're gonna keep it in nice rings like that so we can caramelize it and it'll hook well to the potato. There are so many ways to de-skin a garlic, but the way I learned was to take your knife, give it a nice little pound, and then that skin's gonna come right off, just like that. We're gonna cut that. So I'm living in Brooklyn, and us Brooklynites don't like to make a lot of waste. So if you have all these ends, all these tips of any onions, any garlic, keep them because you can use them for a stock in the future. Now we have everything we need prepped up, and we're all set to get cooking. So much about cooking is multitasking. In this case, I know this is gonna be a little bit challenging, but we're gonna do 3 things at once. One is gonna be putting about 3 inches of oil in a pan, not enough to deep fry, but enough to fry. We can always reuse that oil afterwards. The second thing is we're gonna caramelize the onions. And the third one is we're gonna do our mushroom saute. So as you can see, first thing was we started heating the oil. We got our oil hot to start our mushroom stir fry. To begin with sweating out that garlic. Personally, I prefer the mushrooms, that's why I cut them a little bit thinner. But if you have bigger potatoes, like Idaho potatoes, then you could keep them whole since they're babies. And now those are in. Get them nice and coated with that oil and just let them saute Nice and easy. So we're putting the onions in with that butter. And the thing about onions is that they actually are very naturally sweet once they start to cook their sugars out. So if you use any fat source, if you're a vegan, you don't have to use butter, you can use olive oil. So now that these are cooking, we're just gonna put a little bit of seasoning in there. So now we see these onions are caramelizing gorgeously and getting that beautiful color that you want on the outside. And over here in the mushrooms, it's up to you. If you don't like a lot of spice, I've told people in multiple episodes I like things hot. So I'm gonna put some spice on those mushrooms, but if you like them the way they are, keep them the way they are. So this is a technique I use to test the heat of the oil if you don't have a thermometer. I would suggest not doing it if you have too much oil. But if you just give oil a little splash of water, you'll hear how heavy that boiling sound is, that crackling. I would be very careful with this because if the oil is too hot, it'll boil right up over that pan. Now we're gonna throw our potatoes right on in, and they'll start to sizzle up. You don't want to burn yourself, so you can see those bubbles starting. That's a good heat. You can start low. Now our potatoes have gotten that crispy color. Those are gonna work really well in our bread. Now these guys have that golden color. We're gonna pull them out. And this is the perfect time to season them, right when they come out of the oil. So I'm just using traditional salt and pepper because I already put some spice into my mushrooms, but you can spice them up however you want. So now we have our wonderfully crisp potatoes. We're gonna start putting on our topping. We're just putting our first layer of a few caramelized onions. Don't put too much because you still need that room for the mushrooms. We're just putting some mushrooms right on there. And it's okay if it's a little messy. I mean, this is my first time doing this, so sometimes messy is good. Again, if you have fontina, parmesan, anything like that, it'll all work. I'm just a fan of Gouda myself, so we stocked up on it. So we're just putting that last little element. So while we let this cool for a couple seconds, I want to introduce you finally to my wife. She's been behind the camera for the last 4 episodes, and since we don't have a studio in quarantine, she's been editing these all by herself for the very first time, and I think she's done a great job. She's wonderful, she's lovely, she's gonna join me for this meal, and maybe many more, we'll see. But for now, I'm gonna take the camera and have you meet her.
Hi.
That's how she stands to get angles.
This is how I stand.
Oh, diva. So the great thing about having my wife Hazen here is that she's actually gonna tell me if this doesn't taste good. So we're gonna give it a shot, be careful, it might be hot. I don't know, what do you think?
This is probably my second favorite so far.
Second.
Yeah, after the chili. You can't beat the chili.
Second. The potato works really well as a bread. If you're vegan, once again, just replace the butter with olive oil, replace the cheese with no cheese.
Vegan cheese.
Vegan cheese. And it's really, really, really good. Salt it well, make sure it's seasoned up nice since that potato's thick. And I mean, I'm really happy with this. I'm probably gonna keep this in my recipe book. Thank you guys again so much, especially to those of you who subscribed. I really hope we can get more subscribers. All our handles will be linked on this page. It might take us a little bit to get to the 6th episode. I'll do an announcement video on that just so that we can make it more professional for you and more entertaining. But until then, here's Rishi Mathur one more time. Get some good sleep. Take care of yourselves, cook a lot, make beautiful music, laugh a lot, and we're all gonna get through this. Thank you so much. Good night.
So I was at line and Rite Aid buying a 6-pack of Corona, and the cashier looks at me and goes, living life on the edge, huh? What does that mean? Listen, if you're afraid of drinking Corona because of the coronavirus, that's equivalent to you being afraid of Airheads of candy because it might make you stupid. Listen, we need to start growing up, people. Cheers.
So if anyone was wondering how to makeshift a tripod for your camera during quarantine, this is it. Coronavirus style. Always sitting on the scale. Now for these mushrooms, we're just... just ripped the mushroom. Potatoes, which are frying up very well. I'm just gonna turn them over. We'll see how they're doing. They're not doing well. I'm gonna have to redo them.